body, soul, and spirit. This is what all spiritual teachings aim to effect. This threefold being of man is the key to all spiritual science, because in it lies the secrets of the universe. As above, so below is a quote that means in the microcosm we can find the macrocosm. So if one wants to study the universe, one has to study man. And a complete study of man can only happen once we know the roles that the body, soul, and spirit play. Our science today does not make a distinction between body, soul, and spirit. It simply takes into account the body, the physical. The soul is known to some. Musicians, artists, dancers, lovers have come to feel this in themselves so deeply that they find expression for it through the arts and through creation. The spirit, however, at least a comprehensive understanding of it, has long been lost. In ancient times, there was a deep understanding of the spirit and the spirit worlds and the impacts they had on humanity. You see, man is composed of several constructions. His body is a mineral mass animated through the etheric body. His astral body carries the impulses and passions, and his soul, which contains the ego, is the bridge to the spirit. Man fully participates in the spirit world, but is no longer conscious of this activity. We begin with man's physical body. This is the body that we're all aware of with our senses when we move around. This physical body is a mass of minerals made up of the same minerals that make up the physical world of mountains, oceans, and skies. But unlike any of the minerals, plants, or animals, man has a specially fashioned body, the human form, which supports a brain unlike any other, one that is able to grasp higher knowledge. Now, in order for this mineral mass to take on life, you see, we have to attribute a life force to it. That is the ether body. This is not visible to the naked eye, but it is very real. This ether body, in fact, is what preserves the physical body at every moment, all throughout life, continually keeping it from rotting and disintegrating. You know how once a finger is severed, it begins to dry up? That's because it's disconnected with the ether body. This ether body is more or less contained within the physical body all throughout life. At death, however, it leaves the physical body. In the ether body, we still have something external to man. The processes that govern it are still under external laws. However, once we begin to feel sensations, they solely belong to the inner world of man. Nothing about a sensation lives outside of man. This inner world that belongs to man we attribute to the sentient soul. The sentient soul gives life to sensations. The sentient soul depends on the ether body, as that is what it draws from. And in turn, the ether body needs a physical body to function. Therefore, sentient soul ultimately depends on the physical body. This sentient soul also has a form that can be perceived by higher organs. If man can see the sentient soul, then he can see the sensations of everybody, not just of himself. He can see the sensations as they are themselves, outside of his own inner experience. So between the physical body and the ether body on the one hand, and the sentient soul on the other, there inserts itself another distinct member called the soul body. One can say a part of the ether body is finer than the rest, and this finer part of the ether body forms a unity with the sentient soul, whereas the coarser part forms a kind of unity with the physical body. Nevertheless, the sentient soul does extend beyond the soul body. But this sentient soul is not all there is. Man forms thoughts about his sensations. In this way, he enlightens himself regarding the outside world. Man also does not follow blindly his impulses, instincts, and passions. He can think about whether or not they serve him well and decide that even though something feels good, he should not do it. If man only had the sentient soul, he would be like an animal. Animals also have sensations, impulses, and passions, and they satisfy these immediately. Man has the ability to have independent thoughts which transcend the immediate experiences. This soul that is served by thought is the intellectual soul. The intellectual soul permeates the sentient soul. The seer, however, will see the intellectual soul as a separate entity, quite distinct from the mere sentient soul. If we go one step further, we consider moral truth. Moral truth is something that can exist independent of our desires and passions. If we feel a duty to do something, that duty should exist for us even though we don't like what we have to do. Duty may stand so high in the eyes of a man that he will sacrifice his life for its sake. And the more that he can overcome his passions and desires, the more he can obey that duty. This moral good, this duty, has a truth and an internal value in and of itself, and does not receive this from the sentient soul. In causing this eternal truth to come to life in his inner being, man raises himself above the mere sentient soul. The eternal spirit shines forth as a light into this soul, a light that is kindled, which is imperishable, and as the soul lives in this light, it takes part in the eternal. This part of this soul is called the consciousness soul. The consciousness soul is accordingly differentiated from the intellectual soul as another distinct member of the human soul. The intellectual soul is still entangled in the sensations, the impulses, the passions. The consciousness soul, however, is the part of the soul which holds the truth, even though that truth revolts against all personal feelings. It is the part which is free from the taint of all sympathy and antipathy. It is the part of the soul in which eternal truth lives.